Hi everyone, this is Morgan from morganlinton.com, and today we're going to play Domain Detective. Okay, honestly I play Domain Detective pretty much every day, and the number one tool that I use for my Domain Detective work is Domain Tools. And I'd like to show you exactly how I use it and why I love it so much. I've had a lot of people ask me, hey Morgan, when you're looking at buying a domain, what do you do? What's the process that you follow? And that's part of the fun of this. I do buy quite a few names directly from domain owners that already have them. Some of them are domainers, some of them are end users, and the first thing I'll do is show you really how to understand who it is you're buying from and understand the history of the domain. You know, you never want to buy a domain that has a bad history or has had some bad things happen to it in the past. That all could come back to haunt you. I'll show you how to be able to check all of that and a little bit more. So let's say I wanted to buy the domain name test.com. It's a few bucks, right? Not too bad. So I type it in there, I hit search for domain, and I see here my whois info. First thing I do is I go over to the whois record, and what I look at first is the reverse whois, how many domains the person owns. A lot of times I can tell, okay, well if they own 7,000 domains, okay, it's probably a domain investor. If they own 7 domains like this, okay, that's probably a person themselves. In this case, we can see that this is actually registered under private registration, but we know that this company themselves owns about 7 other domain names. Well, now what if I wanted to see, okay, well how long have they owned it and who owned it before them? Well, you can do that by looking at whois history. So I'll click up here to whois history. This will automatically populate in that last domain I typed in, and I'll select Get History. The really neat thing is Domain Tools has been collecting whois data for a long time. As you can see, there's 2,877 records found. So I can actually go back in time, literally be a serious detective with a time machine, and go back here and go, okay, well who owned this, you know, in 2005? And I can look back here and see actually the whois information there. That's really useful. And that's a great way to look at, okay, who owned it before the person that you're buying it from to really make sure that it has the kind of past that you want it to have. You can even go a step further and look at the screenshot history. So you can not only see who owned it, but what did the site look like. And this is really cool because you can actually go back in time and see the page as it was through its different iterations. Now one of my favorite things, this is kind of the autopilot stuff, which I love, and that's the monitoring system. So one of the first tools that you can use that I wanted to show you is the brand alert. So here what you can do is you can set an alert. So you can see here, so I have Morgan Linton on a brand alert, and I'll add another alert. So let's say I want to know anytime somebody types in my company name and actually uses my company name within a domain name. And I can just click Add New Monitor. And so now if somebody, you know, registers lintoninvestmentssucks.com or something like that, I can see it and I can see who registered it. Please don't run out there and register that. Then another cool thing you can do is the domain monitor. This is really neat, and this is a way that you can look at particular domain names. And I have created a portfolio here, a test portfolio. I have my default that I'm using right now, but I'm not going to show you guys every single name I'm monitoring. And so here I'll say, okay, well I want to add test.com, and I want to view the whois information. And so what will happen here is every time, now you see it says test.com added the portfolio test, and now you can see that it shows up down here. I could also add, let's add like my own domain, morganlinton.com, and I'll say add. Now what this will show me is any time that there's a status change, a whois status change, it'll actually notify me. So I can know. So if there's a domain that you're watching, maybe you want to know if it drops, maybe you want to know if it gets sold, this is a really great way to do it. They also have, of course, monitoring around registrants as well. This is pretty neat, so you can look at, hey, maybe there's a certain person that you want to know what domain names they're registering, or a company, what names they're registering. You can actually do that here and set up alerts just like that. Really easy, but as you can see, Domain Tools is a lot more than just doing a whois lookup. You can actually understand who used to own the name, what it used to look like. You can really check its history, understand if the owner is a domain investor or an end user, and then set up monitoring tools to automate a lot of the process. It's great, and this is why Domain Tools is what I use myself so I can be a good domain detective.